Tadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishwaro Guratmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste Om Ishwara. We begin today on page. I have moved on because I was reading a little bit the text. Can you tell me the page?
Page 1806.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so last class we have seen the verse, beautiful verse in which Krishna Ji says, fixing the mind and sense on me mutually, sharing the knowledge about me to others, and speaking about me to others. These disciples, they are always contented and delighted. Right? It's very beautiful. Here, Krishna Ji is highlighting uh, the fact that sharing this knowledge is a wonderful sadhana. Okay, especially if the devotee does not have much of a ego involvement with that role. So sharing the knowledge, talking about me to others, they are going to remain, with their mind fixed on me, the sense organs fixed on me, and they will enjoy, contentment and delightfulness. Because there is nothing more delightful than to sing or to repeat the songs of the Vedas. So he's referring to, of course, to highly advanced bhaktas, the Virat bhaktas, that are so fascinated with this relationship with God that begins losing the interest to talk about chichichi and small gossip and so on. They want to talk about the Lord, share this knowledge with others, and so on. And then the following verse, the verse 10, to them who are ever steadfast and who worship me with such devotion, I give the yoga wisdom by which they reach self-knowledge and moksha. So now he presents in the verse 9 the highly developed Kami Yogi, Virat Bhakta. He sees Ishvara as the entire manifest universe. He sees Ishvara as the supreme Lord, supreme intelligence. He never loses sight that the Lord is all around. And then once the mind has come to that level of steadfast darshan, vision, perspective of seeing Ishvara on those terms, and then Ishvara is going to do what? Here Krishna is speaking in the name of Ishvara. Ishvara will give the yoga of wisdom, meaning to say, I will introduce them to the Upanishads, which is the yoga that gives self-knowledge and moksha. Here it's presented figuratively as then someone is going to reach the true Lord, but we reach it by means of cognitive understanding of one only nature of the Lord as Nirguna Atma. So we have seen several times the metaphor of the ocean and the wave. The wave does not need to reach the ocean and does not need to reach its true nature as water. So the wave is integral part of the ocean. And furthermore, it is of a totally different nature other than ocean and wave. It's the true nature is water. And that can be gained not by going around in the ocean, traveling, looking for new gurus, and so on. It's done by reflection, contemplation upon these teachings. The human relationships, they are just incidental relationships, as we see Swamiji explaining again and again, but there is a fundamental relationship, which is the relationship with the Lord. I would put it all incidental relationships with people, places, things, and circumstances of life. We are relating to everything. Those are incidental relationships. More fundamental relationships is relationship with scriptures and guru. Okay, and then from there we develop the relationship directly with Saguna Ishwara, which will lead us to the certainty of understanding that there is no separation between Saguna Ishwara and myself, in the sense that we are both Brahman. We are both Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman. So here Swami is putting in respect to the relationship with Sagunishwara, is a relationship that lasts forever. After all, Ishwara is the one who is going to bring us back into a new birth according to our karmic material. And therefore, this is a relationship that goes from Janima to Janima, birth and birth and birth. So it's always there. It will be always there. Even after Atmayana, Brahmavidya, still the relationship for as long as our karma is still exhausting is going to be around, because Ishwara is there governing our prarabdhas, registering our actions and so on, and to decide if he's going to send us back down here, or it's going to free us from any lockup. So therefore, even the most sacred human relationship will last only for one life. So the relationship with the Lord is far superior. Therefore, the relationship with God should be revived off and on. That's why regular sadhanas, regular studies of the scriptures, and regular remembrance, application of karma yoga and so on. Oh Lord, let me never forget you. Let never forget your teachings, So help me out, never to move away from my direction, the journey. Remember, the journey, the direction is God, So we may go sometimes in zigzags, but we keep in mind, okay, it appears as I'm zigzagging, but Lord, please never let me forget the journey and the direction of my journey, because the purpose of the final goal is to understand your nature so that I can understand my own nature as the same Atma as yours. In spite of all preoccupations and activities in other incidental relationships, so if anything, we need to put up a prayer to the Lord. So make me strong, support my Viveka Shakti so that I don't go astray, I don't lose my way here and there, due to the natural bits and pieces of ignorance that still potentially can cause some delay, They're never going to prevent it, but can cause certain delays. It's like there is in the background, there is this Tampura Shruti in the words of the Swami. Just like musicians, they have songs, but they have the bass, this Shruti behind that allows them never to go off rhythm, you know. The same way Virat Bhakta, in the background, he is singing the songs in praise of the Lord. This is very very beautiful and poetic. The highly developed bhakta, he's doing things, but in the background, in the mind, he's just singing the songs in praise to the Lord. Therefore, different ragas and veshas will come and go, but my goal is something. It's like to transcend both raga and vesha altogether. I'm a very profound and significant word, satatayuktata. Never forget the relationship with the scriptures. Never forget the relationship with the macro ship. And again, this relationship with the macro Bhagwan, the macro Ishwara, is to be maintained during our duties, our society roles, as a duty forced by others. And again, this relationship is not maintained as a duty forced by others. So it means to say this relationship should not be something forced just by willpower. So no, it should just sprout, spring, emerge in the heart. And how does that go about? As a feeling of devotion, a force of devotion that allows the individual to never look that vision, that perspective that I'm surrounded by the Lord, I live within the Lord, I'm integral part of the Lord, and furthermore, I am of the same nature as the Lord, because we are both Nirguna Brahman. And Krishna says, those who worship me, who remember me with love, and here, Tom says something that I like to emphasize again and again. This worship, this devotion, this reverence is born out of knowledge, understanding. And then he says, love is always born out of knowledge. What? Knowledge is born out of knowledge. Yes, because you're going to only love something to begin with if you know it. And then if you know, and then it's up to you to say, I love it, I hate it, I am indifferent about it. But first of all, knowledge should be there, understanding should be there. If the topic here is devotion as a byproduct of the understanding of the nature of God, so I need to go all over it to understand the nature of God according to the scriptures of the Vedas, the Vedanta. So Swami elaborates a little bit, saying that we can never love any person unless we get to know the person. We need to get an introduction first to know, oh, I'm so and so, blah, blah, blah. And then this is my story, that's your story. It's the love or the appreciation between two people evolves as we discover, we understand or get to know each other better. The same way, the more we study scriptures about God, the more we know the true nature of God. The more we know the true nature of God, devotion or love, the love to God is devotion. Devotion is love towards God. This devotion naturally, gradually, automatically comes to the surface. It does not need to be forced. It's the most natural byproduct. But the basic, the more you know about God, the more you understand the nature of God. In many bhaktas at the earlier stages of development, they say no, there is no understanding involved in order to love God. You understand? I was born in a culture, everybody loves God, and and I love God. And then when you see there is an atmosphere in which everybody gets high, with this feeling of love towards a deity or anything like that. I have seen that with my mind, my eyes, my sense, exactly in the ashrama of Ramana Maharaj in Tiruvannamalai. Huh? So Vedanta says, okay, but a higher degree of devotion is a devotion that depends on a deeper understanding of the nature of God. Huh? The more you know the nature of God, the more mature, the more firm, the more unconditional will be your love towards God. You need to understand the law of karma, of course, to unconditionally be appreciative of God. So I'm just elaborating here, and Swami he's moving a little bit more as in the books, and say, so you remember the bhakti has several levels. We have studied that in the previous chapters. So this highly developed bhakti no longer looks at the Lord to get things of this world, material things, so fame, protection, security, pleasures. So worldly ends is not in the mind of a highly developed karma yogi. But we begin from where we are. And then we know that there is a stage on which the individual no longer wants to bargain with God again and again. I give you this, you give me that. And he just wants to love God because love is the best thing in the world. And the love toward God is the highest level of love. And the individual who loves is in a very comfortable life experience because he's in love. We see it from experience of loving another human being. When we fall in love, poof, yeah, and then we are in that high, we're in a kind of intoxication. And that love feels so good, you know? And just imagine a love which is not a falling in love, but it's raising love towards God, based on a profound understanding. So that is the real high. And this feeling of love no longer is there loving God to ask God for things in return, but is loving God because, how can I not love you, Lord? I remember when I was living in the USA, there was an expression that I liked very much. Sometimes I was in a kind of environment, somebody looked and see I was doing a group, and then she said, "You got to love this kid. You got to love this kid." I found that expression so beautiful. It was a very young kid, and the leader of the group was, "You got to love this kid." So you got to love God, once you understand, this Lord, you got to love that. How can you not love, you know, some principle that projects us, sustains us, and keeps arranging our parabhadas moment to moment, and send us the scripture, send us the guru, send us, favorable circumstance here and there. So you don't want to ask anything to God, you want to just express your appreciation. God represents Purnatva at the highest possible level, which is entering in the deep waters of the Upanishads. God is no longer a means, no longer an end. It's just is my very nature. God is Nirguna Atma. whole, full, and complete, Purnatvam. And then once I understand Lord as Purnatvam, I understand that my very nature is the same, and this is the ultimate fulfillment, which is self-fulfillment, self-sufficient, self-independence. So this is the highest level of bhakti, no? Madhyama bhakti. So means they look upon God as the goal itself. And what I will do, Bhagwan will say, don't worry, I will take care of everything. You don't need to do anything. Just grow as a devotee. Mm. When you come to that stage of sadhana, of bhakti, they have progressed from the initial levels of seeing God confined in one name and form to seeing God as an expression of all names and forms. And now they are seeing God as their own very purna nature, conscious existence, the only reality, So it's a process, it's gradual, but it's unavoidable, Nirguna Brahman, Nirguna Atma is the jump from being a Virat Bhakta into being a Nirguna Brahman Bhakta. Yeah? And the process by which we get there, the last one is Jnana Yoga, meaning to say Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. Remember, Nirguna Brahman and devotion, knowledge of Nirguna Brahman as your very intrinsic nature can only be revealed or discovered through the teachings of the Jnana Yoga of the Upanishad. Therefore, Krishna tells us, don't worry, I will promote them, these highly developed bhaktas, I will promote them into Jnana Yoga, okay? Buddha Yoga also referred to. And Jnana Yoga means what? I'm going to go now, I'm in the process of understanding profoundly and firmly that the true God is free from any form. It's the most invisible principle. It's the pervading principle. It's beyond time and space. It's just conscious existence, the only reality. This is the Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, which we know very well. If a guru is required, don't worry. There is another passage here on Katha Upanishad, maybe. It says like, don't worry, if a guru is required, Krishna representing Bhagavan, Ishvara, Krishna will provide a guru. If guru is not required, Krishna's God is not going to present it because it knows it is not going to be appreciated, the guru. So if scriptures of Jnana Yoga are required, Krishna will present it. And if a guru is required, Krishna will present it in the hope that the disciple is prepared, is mature enough to integrate the guru with the scriptures, because as we say, it should come in one single package. A lot of people have trouble with the story of guru. They want to leave guru outside because they want to do the process. I and the scriptures, I and the scriptures, I and the scriptures, because the ego always has some little trouble with the idea of having a guru, because I believe the guru is a person. No, the guru is a sampradaya, is an institution, is a link between the disciple and the scriptures, So I will provide this, I will provide that, I will provide maturity to you, the opportunity to study the Prarabdha Karma, to allow the study of the scriptures. I will provide the necessary qualifications for you to understand and assimilate Atmayana. I will make all the contract work. It is going to get all the contractors, say, let's put it together because this soul now is qualified and it's fit to gain this knowledge and retain this knowledge. So what is the end result? Ishvara Krishna will convert this highly developed bhakta into a yani yogi, yeah? And later on into a nirguna atma yani, that which has the knowledge of the true nature of the atma as free from the gunas of Maya, no attributes, no qualification, no qualities, no property. And that Krishna says beautifully in this verse 11. Out of compassion, Krishna speaking in the name of Bhagwan or Ishvara, out of compassion, I, remaining in their intellect, will destroy the darkness born of ignorance. And how do I do so? By the brilliant light of knowledge. So this is incredibly beautiful. Okay. So how is Krishna Guru? First, the motivation of Krishna Guru is put here as compassion, love. But of course, Krishna is present the knowledge to those who have merits to receive the knowledge. So anybody who has merit to receive the knowledge does not really need much of our compassion. Now, at the most we say, no, I want the blessings of Krishnaji. I want the blessings of Guruji, So the individual does not think in terms, I am highly qualified, but I want the blessings. I'm hot, I want it. And Swam Krishnaji, talking in terms of Ishwarji, says, due to my love and compassion for all human jivas, especially the ones striving for self-knowledge and moksha, I will light the lamp of wisdom, of knowledge in their intellect. He says, I will remain lightening their intellect. And when there is this light shining in the intellect, it destroys darkness, which is the symbol of ignorance of the true nature of Brahman. And it's done so by the brilliant light of knowledge, the remedy for that which dispels or destroys ignorance. Krishna says, I will light the lamp of wisdom in the mind of these highly developed disciples. In the mind of Vishvarupa Bhakta, I will light the lamp of wisdom. Wisdom means what? Yanam, the knowledge with respect to the nature of God, the nature of Ishvara. And what kind of Ishvara? So here is still addressing the Ishvara, as Saguna Ishvara, which later on is going to be understood as Aham Brahmasmi. Once the disciple, the Bhakta, was introduced to the scriptures on Nirguna Brahman, Yana. He's present the entire range, the entire process. I will lighten the wisdom, the light of wisdom in the light of those who got finally enough in contact with the Upanishad scriptures. And what kind of lamp is that? It's Advaita Yana Dipam, the light of knowledge, as beautifully present in the Panchadasi as well, the light of knowledge. How can Krishna light the lamp of knowledge, the lamp of wisdom? So how is Krishna doing that? Krishna Guru, the Sadguru. So could it be that Krishna have a special matchbox or something like that? No, there is nothing in those terms. he's going to light the light of wisdom, by delivering light of knowledge, lamp of knowledge to dispel the darkness of ignorance. And we always talk in terms of self-ignorance, and knowledge always refers to self-knowledge. This is not a physical process, as we all understand. And there is nothing esoteric about that when we come to Vedanta. This is very important, It's not that, Krishna has to open the third eye, touching the forehead of the disciple, the devotee. There's none of these things, or taking diksha and so on. No, it's going to deliver knowledge, because Krishna Ji is not an initiating guru. Is not, uh, how you say, initiating guru and inspiring guru, second level, the guru that gives us inspiration, is a teaching guru. He's going to light the lamp of wisdom by delivering knowledge. Okay, nothing other than knowledge. No physical sadhanas or interactions between Krishna Ji and disciple. No pujas, no rituals, nothing. And what is the way, in which way he does that? Right? And what is the method that Krishna Ji is lightening this lamp of wisdom in the intellect of Arjuna? It's said by consistent teaching, delivering consistent, systematic teaching. And Swami reminds us that it's not only the case in terms of self-knowledge or spiritual knowledge, but in any field of scientific knowledge, the study has to be gradual, from the more simple and then growing, consistent, systematically, with a guru, competent guru. If the student is not there, what the teacher will do? Therefore, systematic teaching is called lightening the lamp. So then Swami presents another inquiry here, which a lot of people wish could be answered by Krishna here right now in this chapter of the Gita. Okay, I'm all in, but I want to know how long, how many years, I need to do that. How long the teaching should go. And then Krishna Ji responds, until the disciple, the student, understands its true nature. Doubtlessly, any possible doubt, vagueness, abstraction in respect to that, the certainty has to be absolutely firm. So I know that my true nature is beyond the body and the mind. I am the consciousness shining in the mind, in the intellect. And I'm free and independent from this instrument called body-mind, and the world I perceive through this instrument. But for that, one has to go through this process of consistent teaching, receiving these teachings. How long? Until it is a doubtless or doubt-free knowledge, hardwired knowledge. I will light the lamp by and by. I cannot just deliver the teachings all at once, because the teaching have to be digested gradually. I will light the lamp of wisdom. I will provide the opportunity for systematic teaching. Then he presents the background, which he does present only based on karma laws, meaning to say a system of meritocracy, because these teachings and all the parabada, all the circumstance, karmic circumstance, and then it brings about all the other agents, such as the scripture and then the guru, a favorable parabada. So all of that is going to be presented by Bhagwan. So we don't need to be concerned about that. The opportunity for this study. And the Swamiji says that Krishna knows, he putting words in the mouths of Krishna. He says, Krishna says, I got a file. I have an infinite number of gurus. Yeah. So don't worry. I will find a proper guru to you. And sometimes the guru may be a one-star guru, and that's absolutely correct, because it's going to deal with the one-star disciples, if you understand what I'm saying. You cannot put one-star disciples in contact with teachings delivered by a four-star guru, for example, because it may go over, may be misunderstood, and then the people say, oh, there is nothing in these scriptures. So I will provide guru, because I have all kinds of gurus in my archives. And he can send you the proper guru for you. And if no guru is available, I send an avatar, like, he say like, I don't know. He was so much appreciative of Arjuna. He says, I'm not going to send a guru to him. I'm going to go myself as my avatar, because it's so rare to find a disciple so highly qualified as Arjuna. I will come there myself. For Arjuna, he was so qualified. Krishna himself told us, now I'm going to teach him directly, and I'm going to teach humanity by teaching him, and we're going to create the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna also did not use any other shortcut to give the knowledge to Arjuna. So that's beautiful as well. I'm not going to go there teaching him the direct path because he's highly qualified. No. I'm going to present the entire teachings through 18 chapters, or let's say 16 or 17 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, covering all topics, in terms of spiritual knowledge. No shortcuts, not even to Arjuna. What did Krishna do? Nothing esoteric, nothing mystical, not touching the head of Arjuna and so on. No shortcuts. He says, you want to go, you want to get there, you're going to have to listen to the whole story, Systematic communication. You have to come here every day in the battlefield. Everybody's going to be watching, and I'm going to be teaching you and the entire humanity. That is the systematic communication between guru and disciple. I will provide you the guru you deserve. And all because of what? Love, Krishna's love, Bhagwan's love, and compassion for. Compassion is more like Bhagwan knows that the Jiva Atma goes through a great length of suffering, psychological suffering, adversities, And then here and there, he sees a soul that mature enough to break away from more and more cycles of pleasures and pains, And then he says, so Jesus is a great soul, and out of compassion, I want to accelerate, or provide all the circumstances necessary for the freedom, for liberation for the soul. And this is an act of compassion as well. Krishna says, my compassion, out of my compassion for all of these great souls, I will provide the guru, I'll provide the scriptures, and I'll provide the karma, the prabhupada karma necessary so that the disciple can go through this systematic, consistent association with the scriptures, with the guru. I will make it through and through without any shortcuts. The Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and the light is going to go on in the intellect, and the spiritual ignorance that before was governing one's life is going to be replaced by knowledge, God's knowledge, Nirguna Atma knowledge. Therefore, Krishna says, I remain in his or her mind, my high developed students. So I have no problem because I'm everywhere. I have all kinds of gurus, and I will just make the light bright in the intellect of these people. Knowledge will happen. And again, Swamiji, but what kind of light is this? It's nothing esoteric, But we have to use light as the most perfect analogy. Because once we begin in contact with this light of knowledge, in the beginning, this light, the flame, such as when we want to begin a fire, is very weak, it's feeble. So what the disciple does when in the beginning the flame is very small, so he needs to protect that, he needs to protect that because it goes off very, very easily, So, and then Ishwara is going to provide what? Sort of persistence and discipline and vigilance and strong desire that is going to compel, inspire the disciple to protect that flame of knowledge until it grows, grows, grows. And then once it has become a strong light, it does not need protection. It does not need any more vigilance. It cannot go off anymore. But in the beginning, a disciple should be very careful, and Krishna will provide the care, will provide the vigilance in the mind of the student. So what you do, you have to protect the flame. Shwara is going to provide us, inspire you to protect the flame. Is going to pull you from samsara gradually, And I remember living around Papaji, and the environment there was so comfortable for this kind of lightning, Not that Papaji was a teacher of the Upanishads of Vedanta. He just played with some small fragments, but the energy there was strong, and a lot of people, due to the nature of Papaji, he was full of Shakti. He was a Shaktipati guru because fundamentally he was a yogi. He came from yoga in his part incarnation. And he met Ramana Maharaj, which fundamentally also was a Samadhi yogi, both with this natural tendency to Samadhi yoga. And to sit in the presence of a guru with that kind of Shakti, it does something to people, So, and then lights will go on and people would have a clear understanding or would have a subtle epiphany and would say, light is on, Papaji, now I got it, now I got it. And then after a few days, a week, the person would call Papaji and go there on the stage with him. Papaji, the light went off, And then Papaji would say, so did you take care of the light? Did you really protect it? In his own language, he would put like, this is your beloved, your most beloved self. You understand? The self presents itself to you, and instead of you hugging and stay with it, until there is no no possibility of any divorce anymore. You understand? Now, what did you do? You went to samsara to announce it. Now I got it. Let's open a bottle of champagne. Let's celebrate. I am the new enlightened one in Lucknow. Huh? And then this fire must be protected. Protect from the arrogance and the pride of the ego as well, because Papaji used to say, with self-knowledge, you have to become so beautiful that the Lord itself, himself or herself, will never want to leave you anymore. But if you develop pride and arrogance, and vanity, and then the Lord will sniff, and then you say, no, let's wait until this soul purifies a little bit more, because I only like to hug people who are really clean, huh? Okay, in the same way, at the time of our Shravana, the lamp is lit, but you should never stop with Shravana. This is so true, we know that. So, Shravana is the beginning of the Vedantic, the Upanishad process. When we hear the teachings, the light starts going tack, 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 even if it's just reading the Upanishads or having someone doing reading in a group. Oh, let me read the Upanishad today, just to get in touch with that. Some your being is going to resonate with those words, and lights are going to, go like that. But Shravan alone is exactly like that flame that goes off very easily. It's almost as similar to those epiphanies people are having with Papaji, in the presence of Papaji. It does not sustain itself. It does not sustain. So after following Shravana, at Shravana level, the knowledge is very weak, feeble. It can go off anytime. So that is a painful experience to experience the light of wisdom going on and off, going and off, on and off. And we all know that. We all have gone through that. So, and then what happened? People sooner or later will feel like, no, there is something wrong with Vedanta. Let me forget about that. Let go back to a Shaktipati Guru or to some other imposters around there in the marketplace, So Vedanta will work only if Shravana should be followed by Manana. In Manana, I should spend time revising everything I have learned, meditating on my notes, and not only Manana should be followed by Nididhyasana. Once the knowledge becomes a firm, doubtless self-knowledge, whatever happens in your life will not hurt you. Therefore, by the powerful lamp of knowledge, the individual will be free from the most fundamental problem within the human experience, which is grief and psychological suffering, which destroys the human intellect. So Krishna will remove the darkness in the mind. The darkness was born out of ignorance, self-ignorance, spiritual ignorance. This ignorance born out of spiritual ignorance is represented by darkness. And that internal darkness appears glowing in one's face. So you can see when the light is lit during Shravana, or in contact with Guruji and the scripture, you can see the light, the expression in the face. It begins, lighting or lightening. In the same way, when you see that when person is really totally under the influence of profound ignorance, you see the sadness, the pain, the darkness, you see the ignorance. You can see, like I say, wow, so much ignorance to shape such a painful face, meaning to say a dark face, an ignorant face, You can look at the face and you can understand, get a feel, more or less, about the stage of development of a person. This, even in the samsari environment, you see some samsaris, they are healthier samsaris, they are happier samsaris, and some samsaris, they are in more trouble. They have too much ignorance, holding them hostile. So you can discern if there is an external, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then you sit and ask what's happening. Then there is a serial chit, smaller one. Okay, he presents some examples about, I don't understand this series in the TV. So that is the gloom in the face that will go away. So you're going to lose that face of sadness and grief and suffering, and you're going to develop a glowing face reflecting joy, peace, and happiness. So if you get this knowledge, you will not live in an environment in which there is only punya, punya, punya. No. The knowledge takes care of converting any experience, either punya papa into strengths derived of Atmayanam, that is the protection to keep your face gloomy with peace and satisfaction and happiness in spite of some challenge, difficult parabhatas here and there. They will not have the capacity to disturb the mind of this yani. Therefore, tamaha, the gloom which is born out of our ignorance, is going to be destroyed. The Virat Bhakta was converted into a Brahma Yani. Without become a Brahma Yani, Yani is the one who has the knowledge in respect of Brahman, but this knowledge must be a direct knowledge, not as a Brahman out there, something other than myself, but the knowledge in respect of Brahman as my very intrinsic true nature. And then with that, there is no question of working for moksha anymore. Before that, without this Brahmayani, the individual will be compelled to keep working for moksha. These verses are very important. Many people think that without Brahmayana, that by going through a different spiritual path, the person can get liberation. In Vedanta, we say there is no other path, there is no other route, okay? Because Brahman is your very nature. The only way for you to claim Brahman is your very nature is through a profound, gradual process by which you understand your true nature as that which was always ever a fact, but not properly valued and recognized by you. There is no other route but the route of contemplate on these declarations of identity, supported by so much knowledge, logic, Upanishadic knowledge, logic. So we say that there is only one way, one route to get self-knowledge, and this is by the scriptures on Atmayana. No shortcut, no other paths. There are many paths in the sense that different paths or different schools or different activities may help to bring more and more, a bit more maturity to the soul. But once the soul is prepared, one must go through the path of knowledge, understanding, in the light of the statements present in the Mahavakyas of the Upanishads. So at the same time, you need not be frightened as well. If you surrender to the Lord, Lord will provide everything that you need to gain this self-knowledge. The preconditions, the prerequisites are going to be falling into place. Nothing to worry. This is the promise of Krishna Ji here. He says, you, Virat Bhakta, will become a Brahmayani. You will get the Atmayana knowledge, you know. Brahmayani is nirguna by nature, and that is the promise made by Krishna for all highly developed bhaktas. You will become a Brahmayani, and I will provide you assistance and support necessary for you to get there. Oh, but I don't need anything to get there because it is already my intrinsic nature. It's okay. You have a treasure underneath your house, you know, but you don't have the knowledge that there is a treasure within the floor of your house worth $1 billion, let's say, you know. And then one day you meet a man who looks at you and remembers you when you were a little child. Now you're an old man. He says, so you still live in the house of your father and grandfather? Yes. So, and what are you doing? You know, I became very poor. Now I'm a beggar, you know. A beggar? How come? Did your grandfather tell you, no, I was too small, and then they died suddenly? And then, okay, so I'm going to tell you a secret. There is a treasure underneath the floor of your living room there. It's worth billions, you understand? So, and then it does not help to say, no, I'm already rich. I am the already Brahman. You know, if that knowledge is a very superficial knowledge, it's not going to produce transformation which depends on the firm conviction that, yes, now I understood, yes, now I accept, this is my inner treasure. I am the most wealth individual because my nature is Purnatva. I am whole, full, and complete Nirguna Atma. So Krishna says, I will provide you everything you need to finally enough to claim it in a way that will transform you. And then the last two verses, Arjuna asked once again, and then now Arjuna starts saying something. Before he was like, you know, listening, was not even being able to elaborate questions, you know. And then he says, yes, Lord, you are the supreme Brahman. You are the supreme light of consciousness, the life of knowledge. You are the supremely whole light of wisdom. All the sages in the past, including the divine sage Narada, Asita, Devala, as well, Vyasa, everyone was speaking of you. I have read those books, you know. They were talking about you as the self of all, the only reality, the eternal, the divine, the primary principle, which is birthless and all pervasive. all the wise people talks of you. They have been announcing you, and now here you are. And somehow I want to recognize you. I want to be sure that I can trust you completely, okay? Because now you are confirmed, you are telling me the same thing that I heard through and through my entire life. So I'm very, very privileged to meet you in person. Huh? Okay, so it's a good point to stop. We begin, we carry on tomorrow. This passage is very beautiful. Anything from you? Are you available for class tomorrow, Mark?
Yeah, I'm available. Yeah, I'll be here. But very
Okay.
beautiful. This section of the Gita is very beautiful.
Very
Very
beautiful.
wonderful.
Hope so. We meet tomorrow then. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Ishvara Shanti. Namaste. We meet tomorrow again. Bye bye. See you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile. Thank you, Arlindo. Wonderful
Thank you.
stuff.
Thank you.